decided to protect my peace, and I don't feel guilty about it. So if you too are trying to figure out ways to protect your peace, let me share with you what's been working for me. The first is I started following and engaging with accounts from organizations that are informing us about our rights against ICE, because I realized that if something
You don't you what are you talking about? This is troubling. ICE is law enforcement. We all have basic rights when it comes to procedure, but there are no different rights or privileges, or the rules don't change for ICE. They don't change for the IRS. They don't change for FBI. They don't change for um, fucking the coast, any other agency. The rules are the same. I don't know what she's talking about.
were unfolding in real time in front of me, I wouldn't know exactly what to do. And that was messing up my peace.
What you do is you comply. Now you can choose to not comply. You can end up like Renee bad, because Renee very bad. You don't want to end up like her. So the best thing for you to do is comply. Why would you be torn or at odds on what to do? Were you thinking of doing something else? Because the only option besides compliance is non-compliance. Do you know where that leads? Depending on how you will either be injured while being arrested for non-compliance, or depending on how drastic and how serious you are about non-compliance, you could lose your life. You don't really have much options. That should be what is disturbing your peace. The fact that you're so mentally unwell that you're already considering forfeiting your life for a cause that has nothing to do with you, being that you're an American, and that you should have something else better to do, like taking care of a husband and some children. But we can tell because of your ideology, you don't have that. So that's why you're here. That's why they're all there. There's no future. There's no children. There's no husband. Why was Renee there? They had a dog and her wife. No children to take care of. No husband. No family. Just lost and confused people. You should not be this confused about when it comes to your options of how to deal with law enforcement. You don't really have many. You have one. You can comply, or there are two boxes you can go in, one of wood, one of metal. But your only option is to comply with the orders of law enforcement. I don't understand why this is complicated.
A second thing that I'm doing is I am making sure that I download apps like Five Calls, which makes it really easy to contact my representatives to let them know how disgusted I am about what's taking place in our country. Before then, I can admit I wasn't making contact with the people who represent me. So realizing I have agency that I'm not utilizing, that started to disrupt my peace.
Yeah, I don't see how any of this is bothering anybody's personal peace. Also, your representatives can't do a fucking thing against our federal law enforcement. What country did these people grow up in? Did maybe back in 2020 or in 20 or the year 2000, maybe the world split. Maybe we slide into a different reality, because I come from a world where nothing she's talking about is even an option. What planet did these people grow up on where you get to just pick your punishment? You get to pick the police, you get to pick what they say to you and how they do. That is not the policy. That has never been the policy. I don't know where these people are getting these absurd notions of law enforcement and how it goes when you're dealing with them. I don't know where the disconnect is. We all grew up here in the United States of America. The rules have not changed. They've been the same the entire time. So when I'm hearing this, it just shows me a level of delusion that should be studied. This person needs help. Yeah, she has her makeup on, she got her hair fixed and the weave done and all that. Okay, that's cool and all. You're cute, but what's going on in your head? It's like she has Jasmine Crockett syndrome. a pretty black woman, but there's no brain. Just the mind is completely gone. It's melted or smelted or whatever. Like there's no processing power. Why would you throw yourself in front of ICE? That's throwing yourself in front of the police. It's all the same. Why are people so confused about how things go when it comes to the law? And why do they think they stand a snowball's chance of surviving if they decide to attack or go at law enforcement? It's like she's trying to find ways to rationalize non-compliance. Calling your state representative is not going to help you. You're not going to put your state rep on the phone with an officer and he's going to say, yes, ma'am. Right away, ma'am. Yeah, we're free right now. Let me take these handcuffs off. Who the fuck do you think these representatives are? Do you understand civics or how it goes or separations of power? Or do you completely different departments? That has nothing to do with boots on the ground. You dealing with law enforcement, and ICE is law enforcement. I don't know what fantasy world these people come from, but it's like they want to go back. Renee is back in fantasy land right now. Why does so many people want to join her? Like it doesn't. Why don't you want to just stay here in reality? Why do you want to go with Renee? I don't get it.
I'm also protecting my peace by taking my kids downtown to feed the homeless every now and then, just because, sharing items like food that they need, clean socks, clean underwear, because I realize that having an abundance of resources, but not sharing them with another person in order to minimize their distress, if only for one day, God, that was disrupting my peace. My family and I also recently joined a church that is very verbal and very active around social justice and missions, especially here locally in our town.
So she joined a gay church. I've seen the social justice churches. They are run by a female pastor. They have a gay flag and a BLM flag with a communist fist on their walls. They are more so terrorist training camps is another term for them, or indoctrination camps. Remember, you can't go into these places as a heterosexual couple and become a member of these churches. They they see a man and wife with a nuclear family. They refer to that as the hallmarks of white supremacy. So they don't welcome straight people in these institutions, especially if you're a straight white male. They are discriminatory. Again, there's like a breakaway. I keep telling people there's a breakaway society within our society. See, right now we live in a multicultural democracy, a multicultural republic, which is where I live. Well, it's a multicultural democracy is where these people want to live. I live in a constitutional republic. We're all occupying the same space. I live under the actual government. They live under the one they aspire to have in the future or right now. They think they live in a multicultural democracy where blacks and gays can just rule on whatever they want and the highest vote wins. Kind of like the Salem witch trials, I live in a a constitutional republic where basically the Constitution is the law of the land. We live in two completely different societies. The problem is we're starting to converge on one another, and only one there can be only one. It's like the movie The Highlander. There cannot be two societies within one space. She's living in this weird world, but the thing is, they're getting on the internet, they're informing us, and it seems like we're just rejecting the fact that this is happening. We want to turn on sports tube and watch people throw balls at each other. We don't realize they're actually building an army against the Republic and against regular Americans. But in the way they're getting around is that they're also calling themselves Americans all of a sudden. I don't know if you know this, but black people never refer to themselves as Americans. They hate America. They don't stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. They don't stand for the flag. And they sow discontent and try to convince others to do the same, not to stand, not to love your country. They'd be proud if you said, I'm a proud Crip or a proud Blood, but they shun you if you say, I'm a proud American. You got to understand, this is not the group that you want to follow behind. This group won't even be here in a few years. They're dying off anyway, but you're taking life advice from them. How do you take life advice from somebody that's already scheduled to die? They don't even have a future. And here and I say that because of the vaccine. I don't know if you watched my other videos or you looked at my research, but they're gone already. It's 2026. These people had a 5-year lifespan. I woke up. I woke up to this morning. I lost 5 Black friends in LA over just since this week. And it's only the beginning of January. I lost 5. All health complications to people 50 and under. Women, 3 of them were women, 2 were men. Everyone on my timeline in California, I keep telling everybody, Facebook is an obituary now. It's not where you go to keep track of friends. It's where you go to keep track of the deaths. They're all gone. There's this. I'll be honest. I bet you if she's this much of an ideologue, when Kamala told her to go take those shots, she said, yes, ma'am, went like this and went and did all of them. She doesn't have much more time, but here she is giving life advice. If you're a survivor, if you're a pureblood and you're a conservative, and I mean, yeah, we love Trump, but I mean, I'm not taking advice from The Apprentice on my health. I'm not that I don't like the motherfucker that much. But, and here we are, let these people tell us that they're informing us about their breakaway society, their breakaway church. And basically a church is now where you go for activism against who? The answer is only going to be white people. And that's exactly what, because somebody sent me this video. I didn't even watch the video. I'm just reacting in real time with you guys. But that's what this all boils down to. It's gay white people, and they have their Black frontline attack dogs that go after straight white people who are their political enemies. That's all we're watching is a proxy war between gay whites and straight whites. And the only thing, they're not fighting over land, they're fighting over access to kids. And it seems like the Black people on the front line they're none the wiser of what they are actually defending. You're going to a gay church that talks about social injustice. The only white people at those churches are gay. Straight white people are traditional and conservative. And they are not welcome. You can't be straight and welcome on the left anymore. I was watching a video today. I'm gonna do another. I have a segment coming up in 2 hours where it was a white male journalist. You could tell he's straight by just how his face and his hair. But the gay whites, they literally pointed him out as soon as he walked up into their circle. And they were like, get out of our city, get out of our. He's like, what are you like for what? I live here too. It was all gay whites. They could look at him and tell he wasn't gay. Straight white. And guess what they did? Then all of a sudden they sent their Blacks to go and try to push him around and enforce him. You know, like it's you got to pay attention to what's really actually happening without any biases based on your emotions or your feelings. Reality is not going to be in line with your feelings. Your feelings will be in the clouds somewhere. We're ground based. So you got to keep that in mind. You know, I'm trying to reconnect people with reality, especially people that are following me, that listen to my channel. Let's see. Yep. I mean, okay, some guy, if you don't agree with what I'm saying, why don't you just change the channel? I mean, you don't have to you could just change the channel. I'm sure there's some gay guy, you can go follow him and go, yeah, I believe you, communism, Chinese, and all these, fuck that. I'm a patriot. I don't give a fuck about any of that stuff you're talking about. I mean, I appreciate the trolling, and then, yeah, I like summer camps. Take me to, let's go. We can go to summer camp together. Maybe we can be bunkies. Democrats live in an ideological cult. They absolutely do. Preach. Thank you. Yeah, Democrats are bad for the world. They even know they're bad for the world. Why do you think they won't have kids? Why do you think Democrats will not have kids? They know that they are poisonous. They know they are toxic. They know their ideology is unhealthy, and they don't want to put kids through what they are going through. Can you imagine what it's like to be a Democrat right now? Okay, how about this? Because my audience isn't Black, so we can talk, right? Imagine what it's like to be a Black Democrat in this country right now. Imagine the delusion of you feel like there's always white men tormenting you 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. This pretty little broad is talking about her peace being disturbed. She's referring to basically imaginary white people that walk around with forks in their hand, right? And they just poke her all day. So she gets up to go to work and they poke her. Then they call, they tell the job to fire her. Not because she's late or she does bad work or because she's a horrible person when it comes to the culture of the workplace, but no, fire her because she's black. That's what's in her, telling her in her head, that a white man that's tormenting her made the job fire her. Then the white man that's tormenting her, he gets in a car and he drives on the freeway and he cuts her off. Then when she's going to Target, he zips in front of her and takes her parking spot. Then when he goes in the store, he grabs the last item on the shelf that she was going to get. Bro, if you guys only knew black people, like personally, you would be amazed at the level of delusion that comes along with being a Democrat that thinks that the whole world hates you because of your skin color. And that white people, especially white men, are following you around. They're outside your window. They're in the bushes. Matter of fact, let them tell it. During lockdown, there was white men with machine guns in front of their door and told them, you better stay at home. You better not leave. It's the level of delusion is that's why you don't understand why they have so many issues in society with well, I'm Cuban. You never hear about Cubans and whites getting into it or Cubans and anybody because we all have our own communities. We all live and we work. We deal with each other and we deal with others when we need to. But for the most part, we take care of ourselves and our family. We have our own communities, etc. We have our own stores, we have our own economy. Their economy depends on being under white people who they hate, and white people tolerate them. It's completely destructive to the entire fabric of this country because those are the two majorities for the most part. If you remove illegals, then us Hispanics don't make up the majority. But I'll be honest, the black population is at 9% right now. It's no longer 13. You just haven't been keeping score. So they can tell you everything about what's wrong, but they can't tell you how to survive what they did a few years ago. You have to just ignore them. This conversation from women like this is not just demoralizing, but it's debilitating to society. And that's why, but the point is, I have to do these reaction videos and point it out to people because you might have missed it. I missed this. Someone sent it to me this morning and said, hey, did you see this? It reminds me of what you talked about 3 weeks ago. And I put it on and I was like, you know what? Let me just react to it live. Let me just make a little video. Let me turn on the camera. Let me just talk about it and go through it live. We are in trouble. These are people we don't know that we're at war with them, but they've already declared war against us. It's just in a roundabout way. She sees us as her mortal enemy. That's how deep the delusion is. She would call me a white supremacist just because I'm not gay. That's all it takes. If you say, no, I'm not gay or into the trans and the pedophile stuff, oh, then you must be a white supremacist. You must be a that's how they talk. The threshold is not, it doesn't take much to be a right-wing, Trump-supporting conservative. All you got to say is I'm not gay and I'm not into the trans and the kids stuff. Oh, really? Oh, you're not? You must be far right, blah, blah. It doesn't take much. There are people in the comments right now who disagree with me, but if you ask her and she looks at you and she finds out you're white and you're not gay, yeah, you're on the right. Little do you know, buddy. If there is a coming war, there was an alert that got, I don't know if you guys saw that today. The U.S. Postal Service sent out a warning to its carriers. And the warning was that there's going to be some kind of event that's going to be happening in this country. And the only things that can stop the mail from running is war and some kind of major natural disaster. But no matter, but in lieu of that, the mail's going to run. And I'm like, okay, I don't think there's going to be some kind of huge storm coming that's going to cover the whole country. So what are they sending this alert for? Because they understand that there's going to be a short-term civil strife. And there's all these people have already declared war on us and we are just none the wiser. We don't have no idea they've been building up a military around us. A military that's primarily of the black community and the gay community. And they're coming after us because we restrict their access to kids. That's the right we took away. Well, fucking boo-hoo. Arm up.
because being in spaces where that's not being addressed, that was really.
Terry, you've never been to Cuba, so you can't speak on Cuba. Speak on America. Speak on the hood. Speak on the ghetto. Speak on the projects. Speak on the places you know, gay clubs, prisons. Talk about the place you specialize in, where you guys flourish. You can't speak on countries you've never been to that speak languages that you don't understand.
Messing with my peace. Oh, and in 2025, I committed to getting over myself and hosting more gatherings, even if they're not aesthetic, even if they're low key, because I listened to a podcast with an expert who was highlighting the dangers of isolation, and not just with regard to feelings of loneliness, but in terms of how it sets people up to be radicalized. And so I'm doing my part to make sure that I have gatherings with people beyond my closest friends, to make sure that women in my close vicinity know that they have a place to gather and to belong. Those are some of the things I'm doing to protect my peace. But what about you?
We'll play it again.
With everything that's happening in our country, I've decided to protect my peace, and I don't feel guilty about it. So if you too are trying to figure out ways to protect your peace, let me share with you what's been working for me.
Terry, you want to come up and debate right now? We'll talk in Spanish. If you don't speak Spanish, I'm kicking you off and I'm trolling you the whole time. If you can't speak to me in Spanish only, you lying piece of shit, then you're kicked off. Here goes the link right now. Come up. You say one word in English, you're done. Let's go. Translate. Let's go. Come on up, join the backstage, and I'll bring you on stage. Yeah, Ryan, if you can organize against someone, that means you have power. If you can single out one race and say you want to organize against them, you have the power to be racist, and you have the power to target someone based on ethnicity and color. That's a privilege that shouldn't even be allowed. You shouldn't be allowed to target anyone at all. And my advice is always, it's the same advice I gave Renee Bad. Okay. Instead of going to war with us, how about you just choose to live, right? And you vacate the fucking premises. You fly to Canada, fly to Mexico, leave the country. And it's better that, or it's better that than ending up like Renee. You're not going to win against us. You're not going to win. You ever notice the Columbia clothing logo is a swastika? There's nothing wrong with the swastika. It's been around for thousands of years. It was a symbol of peace. It was adopted by the Nazis, and it just depends on how you view the Nazis. Be honest with you, the last time I checked, the Nazis were free Palestine before it was cool. So I can't really. You got to think about it. Like, who do you? Why? How do you say you love the Palestinians but you hate the Nazis? That those two don't make sense. The enemy of your enemy is your friend. Last time I checked. You know, Ryan, maybe you're not so bad. And Terry, I don't see you backstage, buddy. Well, maybe next year, Terry. They have been dumbing down the American working people for decades. It's easy to control and exploit ignorant people. Okay. You said apparently he feels like that's the truth about MAGA. How? Because we love our country. So you're ignorant if you love your country. Do you see what these people on the left are telling you? It's all about, okay, for example, have you ever worked somewhere or have you ever been in a relationship, but your single friends are always trying to tell you about how bad relationships are and how controlling your partner is and how you can do better. And there's so many other options, but they're single and they're miserable and they've never done anything and they're not with anybody, but they're trying to, it's called sowing discontent. They want you to be unhappy and they want to bring down your vibration and your energy level about whatever it is that they're targeting you on. A lot of people, they'll target your relationships because misery loves company. But other people will work with you at a job and they'll walk up to you in a break room and they'll look around and they'll be like, don't you hate working here? Like, don't these Aren't these people racist and evil? Don't you? They want you to come in on the weekend. They made you clock in on time. I hate this. It's like, you ever meet somebody that just wants to bring your energy level down about how you feel about somewhere that you should be happy to be? That's why you hate America now. You've listened to too many gays and blacks who are disgruntled and hate the country, and they'll do everything but relocate. The beautiful thing is that one day they will have to relocate. We're not going to have to, we humoring everybody in this country is how we almost lost this country. For one thing, because we had Democrats in power last time, because we humored the blacks and the gays when they Trump shamed them into voting for Biden and Harris. To watch Biden and Harris literally force them all to commit suicide was amazing to watch, but it was fairly predictable. But it's just crazy. They got rid of their own people. They just didn't care. Like, for example, this is what they voted for. This is what the Democrats, it's like, do I got to remind you guys what we fought against?
I want to urge everyone to take the vaccine when it is your turn. It is really pretty painless, and it will save your life. So thanks to all who are doing this great and important work. Let's make sure everyone gets a vaccine. You have the power to get vaccinated. This Delta variant.
I think it's going to be a very skeptical.
I've now been vaccinated, and virtually every person who is in the. When we invest, let's be clear. I want to.
That's what you guys are in a hurry to go back to. You know, all these people are dying, right? Or they're already dead. All of them. My heart is hurting right now. One of my good friends, they told her she had cancer in the beginning of fucking December. She's gone. One of the most beautiful souls, but then, fuck it, I don't care. I'll talk about it. I go to her page. I typed in the word vax. It takes me back to the year of 2021, 2022. You know, we're all from Los Angeles. They were trying to reopen, and they said it was flyers that she was sharing the flyer. People were like, well, Rico, how do you know she took the vaccine? Well, she was sharing flyers of events that she was hosting, and on the flyer, it said, actually, I'll just show you what it said. How about that? So that way you don't got to take my word for it. So now you can understand why I don't like liberals. I don't like Democrats. I don't like any of you sickos. And I never will. So you can cry all you want to in my comments. It doesn't matter. You're not going to be here for long anyway, because to prove your loyalty to the Biden regime, you had to comply. So this is early February 2022 it was a denim party, you know, and this was during now LA was in lockdown until the end of 2023. They temporarily let us reopen for like a month. And during that month, we were trying to throw parties and events. So 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. And this is when everybody in LA had been on lockdown for a fucking year. No parties, no nothing. And we are party city. February 5th, 2022. They gave us the address. I know the Regency is over in Leimert Park. I used to, you know, I cracked some bad chicks in there. You know, I used to get it in. I have fun, but this is before the lockdown. But then you go down a little bit further. Proof of vaccination or a negative COVID test required. Proof. So basically, I had to show you my personal medical information about an irreversible procedure, or I couldn't get into your party. She shared these flyers. These were her events. And actually, and listen, this was actually another event at another location. And at this location, no, same location, but at this one, there was no just a COVID test only. You had to show proof that you let them inject you with a time-delayed euthanasia serum. All my friends are dead. This is the first week I've lost 6 total. All the last few months in California, everyone's dropping. And then the numbers, they're getting younger and younger and younger. A friend of mine just got a pacemaker put in at 29 years old. 29. They blocked out the sun. The Democrats, supermajority. California's ground zero. We're fucked because of liberals and Democrat policies. We listened to black people that said we don't need police anymore. We don't want Trump. Now everyone's getting killed during robberies or they're dying from the vaccine because we let Democrats get in control. Gavin Newsom destroyed our state. We have no security. The only reason why we have an economy is because we have those ports. The rest of the businesses have already evacuated. Even the owner of In-N-Out just moved. Everyone's gone. My home state is gone. And then everyone wants to blame white people. No. Blame yourselves. It was black people that voted against the recall of Gavin Newsom when they were going to replace him with Larry Elder. What's his name? Larry Elder. They rejected it because they said, no, Newsom's going to give us another free check and let us stay home. No, he's not. And he didn't. So when I talk about my issues with Democrats, it's based off of the results of their policies. Autism rates reach unprecedented heights. 1 in 12 boys at age 4 in California. In my state. But nationally, it's only 1 in every 31. But in California, it's 25%. And you know what they do to your son if he's autistic? They tell him, well, maybe you're not autistic. Maybe you're just gay. Or maybe even better, maybe you're just trans. You're not all that's why you're socially awkward. It's not because of autism. It's because you're really just trans. You're really gay. Then they turn your son into a trans assassin, a weapon, and they go do all these heinous crimes. And why not? They're never going to have kids. They're never going to get married. They're never going to have families or anything to live for. What other purpose are they going to serve? They weaponize them. Look at all the recent school shootings and massacres and all. It's trans kids, you know. The same kids that Gavin Newsom said he wants to see more of. But you want to tell me that you want to protect your peace from white people. Yeah, go fuck yourself. I mean, I guess Gavin Newsom is white, but man, I don't buy it. Let's see here. Where was this lady at? We're going to get to that video later about AIDS and HIV.
With everything that's happening in our country, I've decided to protect my peace. And I don't feel guilty about it. So if you too are trying to figure out ways to protect your peace, let me share with you what's been working for me. The first is
abominable. I don't think that's true. A swastika is a swastika, whether it's inverted or not. It's still a swastika, and there is no difference. Just the one, whatever difference you come up with is just the one you decided you wanted to believe and go with. But it's the symbol is a symbol.
I started following and engaging with accounts from organizations that are informing us about our rights against ICE, because I realized that if something were unfolding,
you're an American. You don't even have to deal with ICE. Mind your business and focus on your own family.
Holding in real time in front of me, I wouldn't know exactly what to do, and that was messing up my peace.
Your parents failed you. The only option and the only answer is if they were right in front of you, that you comply. That's it. Unless you're in a position to fight to the death, or unless you're in a position to do something, egregious, like shoot one of them or try to hit them with your car, you just comply. You're not going to survive if you do anything besides comply.
A second thing that I'm doing is I am making sure that I download apps like 5 Calls, which makes it really easy to contact my representatives to let them know how disgusted I am about what's taking place in our country. Before then, I can admit I wasn't making contact with the people who represent me. So realizing I have agency that I'm not utilizing, that started to disrupt my peace. I'm also protecting my peace by taking my kids downtown to feed the homeless every now and then, just because, sharing items like food that they need, clean socks, clean underwear, because I realized that having an abundance of resources, but not sharing them with another person in order to minimize their distress, if only for one day, God, that was disrupting my peace. My family and I also recently joined a church that is very verbal and very active around social justice and missions, especially here locally in our town. Because being in spaces where that's not being addressed, that was really messing with my peace. Oh, and in 2025, I committed to getting over myself and hosting more gatherings, even if they're not aesthetic, even if they're low key, because I listened to a podcast with an expert who was highlighting the dangers of isolation, and not just with regard to feelings of loneliness, but in terms of how it sets people up to be radicalized. And so I'm doing my part to make sure that I have gatherings with people beyond my closest friends, to make sure that women in my close vicinity know that they have a place to gather and to belong. Those are some of the things I'm doing to protect my peace. But what about you?
Yeah, no. It seems like the only person disturbing her peace is herself and her mind. And she's now, that's how you know times are too good. You don't even have your own problems to worry about. You now are injecting yourself where you want to defend criminals because you ran out of things to worry about. Unbelievable. Let me know what you think. Like and subscribe, share the video, join the channel. I'll be back on in a few minutes with another topic. America first and America only.
I've been needing to find a new apartment, which has not been easy with credit as bad as mine. Luckily, I found cosigning.com. They connected me with a cosigner who helped me get my dream apartment for me and my dog. I just paid a small fee and was able to move in fast. Get the cosigner you need for the apartment you want. Check out cosigning.com today.